The Middle of the Pack podcast.
All that, and I talk to people in work, and people think these events are for free, like the ones I go to, the races. And so my manager said to me the other day, "Do you have to pay to get into these events?" Yeah, you do. And I was like, "How much is that?" I was like, "Oh, like John Trace, coming up would be €40, but you won't win it, will you?" I was like,
yeah.
I mean, no, I'll do my best, but I won't be winning it unless I.
Welcome to episode 24 of the Middle of the Pack podcast, and that is this week's guest, Conor Friel, and we had a great conversation about all things running, all things racings, and really what this podcast is all about, where we celebrate everyday runners. So join me as Conor and I start discussing really about where he works and how he got started in running. This is episode 24 of the Middle of the Pack podcast.
So I work in hospitality, so bartender inside the Maybury Hotel.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So is that a lot of night work then?
It can be. We have a lot of functions, weddings, and private, like kind of corporate events and stuff, and lunch events. So yeah, especially with the weddings, like we do last call at 2:45 in the morning. Yeah. So thankfully, most time I'm not there until that time. Usually it's 12, 1 o'clock. I may start earlier in the day, just get things set up and get things organized. So hence the reason sometimes I'm not able to make the weekend events. So
Yeah.
but no, that's a day job, 5 days a week.
But that gives you a bit of flexibility then during the day, doesn't it?
It can, yeah, and it's good for the running as well. I would be able to go for either just lunchtime runs, or I might get out not early in the morning, but like mid morning as well for the runs.
So how long have you been running?
Well, took it up properly nearly 3 years ago, but I used to do a bit of it in my late teens as well.
Okay.
I used to play tennis and badminton, and used to play as a goalkeeper in soccer as well a little bit. But I got to the running at 17, 18. Just by chance. I went into the community centre in Carragline one day with a friend of mine who was a 400-meter runner, and there was a woman there, Pauline Hayes. She's a PE teacher in a girls' school, and she was coaching him. And she had one look at me, and she's like, "Jesus, you've got the frame of a runner, 6 foot, and I was at 9.5 stone back then." So she's like, "You got the physique of a long distance runner. Why don't you give it a go?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And my first running event and my only cross country event was my first race, and I just remembered I came second last, and I was like, I thought, oh yeah, no problem, cross country, no worries. I'm fit, healthy, got because of the tennis and the badminton and a bit of football. I've got a lot of sporting background. That'd be grand. It's a different ball game altogether, as people who do cross country events know, and it's not as easy as they say it is.
But you're back running seriously then for the last 3 years, is it?
Yeah, back to 3 years. I remember I got involved in it by chance again. There was a guy down in Kerry called Shane Finn, and he put together like a 10-day challenge. I think like it was like you can run or walk 10K every day for 10 days. So I was like, all right, yeah, I might get involved in this. And so I did it. So I did kind of mix it up a bit. You could do a 5K run and a 5K walk. And then I did that for a couple of days. And then eventually I got into like the rhythm of doing a 10K run. And then during the pandemic, there was a challenge put out. You could it was like pushing limits, it was called. So you can do a half marathon, a full marathon, or 10K. And this was only probably a month or 2 months after the 10K challenge. So I was like, you know what? I've done the 10K challenge. I don't think I'm ready for the marathon. but let's go and do a half marathon. And it was just a virtual half marathon. You just go off and you run a half marathon. So and obviously because of the restrictions, I just did it a good couple of laps around Carragline. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, 13 miles around Carragline, like, I think there was a woman and her daughter walking out one time, and they saw me the second time around doing the loop around. They must have thought I was a madman, but yeah, I know I got into that, and then I got in about 2022. I got back into a couple of races. I did the Ballintortis 4 miler,
Yep.
and then in Middleton 5 mile. Yeah, Middleton 5 mile as well. And then I remember the day after the Middleton 5 miler, I was like, you know what? I'll sign up for Cork. I signed
The full
for the half.
or
Yeah,
the
no,
half, right?
I signed up for the. I wasn't with Carragline at this stage. I was just like a just unregistered club runner, so to
Yeah.
speak. Somebody who I was dating at the time, she wanted to get back into the fitness journey, and that's how the running came back into play again. So I remember doing the half marathon in Cork and turning up at, Sports Direct, going in and asking, sorry, I'm about to do a half marathon. I'm just looking for a pair of runner shoes. I had no clue. Again, I said no club at this stage. So I had no clue as far as what shoes to wear. So yeah, she was like, oh yeah, I think these might be good. They were like a pair of Asics, blue Asics. I can't even remember the model of them. So anyway, I turned up on the Cork City Half Marathon. No singlet. I used the t-shirt that they give you
Yeah, yeah.
running, pair of regular shorts and regular shoes. No gels. Didn't even know. Well, it was. I think I might have used the high five gels at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I just went into Holland and Barrett and raided the gel section in Holland and Barrett and ended up getting the gels there. And I came over the line in 1:46.
Well, that's very good. So you had the bug then.
I had the bug. That's what happened. After that, then I did nothing for the rest of the year. That was my claim to fame, the half marathon, and then I did nothing. And then I saw photos from the Carragline AC page on Facebook of them being down in Dungarvan for the John Tracy 10 miler.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Jeez, you live in Carragline, you run a bit. Why don't you join a club? So, and I got in touch with Karen and Carragline, and yeah, I was on board with Carragline AC then after that.
So
And
did that gave you a bit of structure then? Did it? Did they have a proper kind of structure training and things?
yeah, no, it did. Like Jim McByrne, he was involved in the club a bit. He was a little bit weak, a little bit of Carragline, and then he started out sending out programs and stuff, and then I started training with Adrian O'Driscoll as well. And yeah, I kind of just went from there. Then I was like, you know what? I'll do a couple of races and see how we get on. And you know yourself, it took off then.
Yeah, you
It was
become
like it
obsessed.
was a healthy obsession or a healthy addiction. I was like, I'll do a couple of races. Carragline is coming up. I'll do Carragline, no problem. We'll see how we're doing Carragline. And then it just kicked off. I did the MTU race, then the 5K out in MTU, and then it just went further and further. Then, and my first full marathon was in Cork in 2023. The day was hitting 18 degrees at 8:30 in the morning. And
Yep.
yeah, and I remember getting to mile 20 and just feeling it in the legs at mile 20 as so people keeping telling us your race begins in mile 20, and boy, they were right. Mile 20, it was just, yeah, once you get to the Model Farm Road, I think that's where for me anyway, personally, that's where it started, hitting hard in the legs, and I was feeling the cramp in the legs. And my cousin runs as well, and I remember he was in the half marathon. And you were talking there last week about the talk race, and you in the report about how somebody said there was about, I don't know, like 100 meters left of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
race. And I remember him telling me, like, I don't know, mile 21, 22, you went just down the hill and just around the corner, and you're on the straight road, and you're nearly there for home. And I was like, yeah, okay, grand. And of course, it was another 4 or 5 miles afterwards. Then, like, with finish time, like, I did the same this year in Youghal, and the clock. I saw the clock tower, and I was chasing another fella, and I was trying to break. I think I was trying to break 38 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
The 10K, and I just remember thinking, I know this route from last year. You just come through the clock tower, and you're home, and I completely forgot that there's another loop, another corner to take
Yeah. Yeah.
after that. And I'm like, oh God, right, I might have gone out too far. I might have gone hit the speed button too early on that one, So
And you did Cork again this year, didn't you?
I did Cork this year, yeah,
The
yeah,
full.
the full marathon in Cork, yeah. Again, same thing. I wasn't the best leading up to Cork. The month leading up to Cork, I had a issue, and then I had a hamstring issue, hip flexor, and the week leading up to Cork, I was actually all right. I was good, but I probably should have reassessed things. I probably should have gone out with I can't remember if there was a 3:15 pacer there. Maybe I should have gone out with the 3:15 pacer and then seeing how it was. But I thought, yourself, us runners, we always like, we're determined. No, we're going to go for this. We have
Yeah. Yeah.
big goals ahead. And I went out with Andy Goulden for the 3 hour pacer. And I remember the first 8 to 10 miles, I was doing all right. I would be next to Jim, my club mate from Carragline, and I was flying it. I was feeling good. And then we got to Blackrock Castle, and then next minute I just saw the balloons fade off into the distance,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, they're gone. And then I got onto another group of lads, and one of the lads was like, yeah, all right, we'll just go at this pace now and see how we get on. And next minute, they were gone, and I was just like out out on my own then through Blackrock Castle onto the marina. And I remember like catching Murphy from Eagle was doing the half marathon and that morning, and she was next to me, and she was like, how are you feeling? Yeah, yeah, all good. And then even though I was probably not feeling great, and then I continued on, and I remember getting to the link, and then my watch just went, oh, it stopped. It stopped the time. And the heavy downpour came, and I was like, all right, okay, we'll reset the watch again, and we go again. And I got to mile 18, mile 19, and Lisa, I think it was Lisa Crowley from Watergrass Hill, was cheering on the sideline, and could see that I was struggling. She came came over, give me like a rub down on my legs, and she's like, and then some medic came over and said, "Are you okay? Do you need the ambulance?" I was like, "No, no, no, I'll be grand. I'll continue on." Like, so I continued on, and there was another fella that was behind me at the time, and he was suffering with a knee issue as well, and a couple of other issues. And it was like, listen, he said to me, "Listen, we'll just go out together. We'll just keep on going." And that's what we did, and they got over the line in I think it was 3:35. So
Still good though.
yeah, so funny enough, it was my second marathon Cork, and it was 2 years after my first marathon. And previously I had done Dingle in Edinburgh before that. And so it was my second marathon in Cork. So I knocked 10 minutes off my time in Cork from 2 years ago. So that was at least that was a saving grace.
Yeah, because all that is positive. When you can see an improvement, it doesn't really matter if it's going from 4.5 hours to 4:15 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're showing an improvement, and considering you had slight issues and had to have a rub down, and someone had to pull you along, and still 10 minutes faster. That's brilliant, like, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I was delighted and it was a great thing as well, because I was actually, I did it for charity. I did it for Dyspraxia Ireland.
Yeah,
So I was able to raise over 1,900 euros because I was diagnosed with dyspraxia when I was 6 years of age. So like, for people who are unaware of it, it's to do with like spatial awareness, hand-eye coordination kind of symptoms, really, like.
yeah.
So
And
delighted.
would running be harder because of that, or is it not?
You would think it would be because I mean I thought it would be with considering I played hand-eye sports and tennis and in badminton,
Yeah,
but no, I don't know. It seems to do good for me anyway. Like
yeah,
things
yeah. And you raised 1,900 for it.
19, yeah, and 1900, yeah, for it. Just close. It was by the time the final figures came in, probably close to 2 grand mark. So
That's brilliant, though, isn't it?
yeah, so I was delighted to do that with it, and the support I got from everybody, from people who donated, and it was brilliant. It was great, and I was on a podcast, not a podcast, but another Zoom call a couple of months ago with Dyspraxia Ireland, and it was myself and two people on the panel, and we were just talking about our experiences with dyspraxia and stuff. So I know here we are, another Zoom call, so I feel like getting good at these Zoom Zoom
Yeah, yeah.
meetings.
And how does it affect you day to day? What, like, is it not minimal, or is it fairly?
Yeah, it's very minimal. Like for me, when I was at school, it was to do with the way I grasp a pen or writing or my balance or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how it would have affected me when I was younger. Like you know,
And you're talking about Zoom calls, but you were also on the Echo Live, weren't you? You were a bit of celebrity status.
yeah. With that, I was actually supposed to be on. I was supposed to be on 96 FM with Neil Printable one morning, but unfortunately that never happened because they couldn't fit me in. So maybe down the line it might happen.
Yeah, yeah, they will. He'll have you sorted. I did also have a bit of shoe envy with you. I don't know, we were on a running weekend, so you've come a long way from getting the Asics. Are you
Yeah.
still an Adidas man, or are you moved on to better things?
I personally, I'm actually liking the Evos, the Adidas Evos, the
Yeah,
Evos SLs for the training ones. I think you could probably use them for like maybe a race as well.
I
But
think they're brilliant.
oh, they're a
I
lovely shoe to have.
Yeah, I did get the Pro 4s, and I haven't raced in them yet. They were
Yeah, I
kind of
have
a
the Pro
Christmas.
4s now actually as well. I bought them last year, the Pro 4s.
Yeah, nice color you had.
Yeah, the red ones. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get them anymore.
I tell you what, it's nearly like a full-time job buying a pair of shoes, running shoes anyway, because like, yes, you got the Edge and you got John Buckley Sports, but then you've got the other websites as well that you're always looking at, and then you talk to other people, other runners, and you're like, oh, what are you wearing, and what do you have on you there, and you're always trying to compare and contrast what the what the runner's shoes are like,
And it's
um,
interesting, isn't it, when you start first, as you said, you just went in, you bought a pair of runners, and you were fine. But the more that we learn and the more that we talk to people, you end up feeling that you have to have 4 or 5 pairs for different, nearly different outfits.
tell you what, I bought in 2025. I bought 5 pairs of shoes in just in running purposes. And the first ones were the Adidas, the Pro 4s. I think I also got the Asics Meta Speeds.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had them as two racer shoes. And then I bought we had, you were there, I think, that evening in Tremont Valley Park when we tried on
Yep.
the, the Testa shoes. And that's when I fell in love with the Evos. And recently, back in a few weeks ago, I bought the Puma Devent Nitro Elite trees as well. So I got another pair of them. So that's 5 pair of running shoes in just since last year.
You'll have to get another job.
I have to get another, I do have to take another job to just, and like as you said, like when I first had that, when I did the half marathon, my first half marathon back in 22. Like I said, I didn't have a clue what shoes I was supposed to buy. Like I
Yeah,
just went,
yeah.
as I said, I went in Sports Direct. I think there was a sales assistant there at the time saying that, oh yeah, I do a bit of running. Now she probably went out and did, part club runs or the whatever, just did one. And I was like, now I need a proper pair of shoes. I feel like I'm an elite athlete or something. So, buying all these pairs of shoes, the amount of money that's been spent on one in clothes, one in shoes, all that, like, no, and I talk to people at work and people think these events are for free, like the ones I go to, the races. And so my manager said to me the other day, do you have to pay to get into these events? Yeah, yeah, you do. And I was like, how much is that? I was like, oh, like John, John Tracy, coming up would be €40. But you won't win it, will you? I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
no, I mean, no, I'll do my best, but no, I won't be winning it
I'd come 100.
yeah, I'll come in the top 100 at least. Well, that's the game anyway, like,
Yeah, yeah.
So, but no, like over the last 3 years, like my knowledge of the running has changed. Like as I said, when I first started running, didn't have a clue about, precision gels or Morton gels or electrolytes or anything else. I just remember going to Holland and Barrett and buying myself a couple of high five gels,
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
I could do the job. And then last year I went and did a sweat test in
I think we
the
both did it on the same day.
yeah, in the edge. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember seeing you that day, and just he hooked me up in anyway and said, okay, you're low sweaty runner. And I was like, oh, that's good signs. And then he told me how to fuel then for Cork full. Then he was like, take 2 gels within the first hour, take a electrolyte 500 the night before, take one of those chew bars half an hour before the race, and then yeah, and that's the fueling system. So now I use Precision Gel, and I think no offense to anybody who uses Morton or any other gels, but I think they are the best.
I would agree. And it's not just because we had the sweat test with them, but they're just easier and nicer and not as icky as some of the other ones.
Yeah, when I tried the Morton, I just felt you're trying to gulp it down, and it's like a huge chunk of it. So no, it's a bit more smoother. Is the Precision Gel is definitely.
I see in your Instagram that you're a bit of a traveler as well, and you have always got loads of pictures at concerts. But are you going to try and join the two together for 2026 and do any races abroad, or what are the plans for 2026, basically?
Well, not for running, but for travel plans, I'm actually heading off to Brazil and Argentina next week for a few weeks.
Lovely.
So I'll be heading out to Rio for a few days and Buenos Aires and Argentina for a few days, and then I'll be in the south of Brazil. But I will be flying back the day before John Tracy because I signed up.
Right.
Yeah,
And
so I'm back. No, nothing planned yet as far as, traveling and races. Last year now I did Berlin, and that was my first of the majors to do, and it was an unbelievable experience. Like the crowd and the setup of things and everything else. I mean, going to the expo the day before, I was like a kid in the candy store, like, buying everything around me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was worried that the bank were going to ring me and saying that there's unauthorized tra- transactions on your account because I was just spending. But yeah, that was a great experience, and I would recommend anybody to do any runner to do a major if they can get into one. I know it's difficult to get into one. I tried London last year, and 1.1 million people applied for it.
yeah.
There's only like 56,000 people who run it. There was 48,000 ran Berlin, but the crowd was from wall to wall from the start to the finish. It was unbelievable, like. But I mean, the local races here within Cork are amazing support, like. I think,
Yeah,
I think for me personally, the last few years of racing, I'm just thinking which was the best. I mean, Cork is up there as the best athlete coming to Patrick Street and like wall to wall of people, like. But local races, I have to say, like Carragline is a nice one at the end when you come into the end finish of Water Park. The
yeah,
residents come out and cheer you on. But Kinsale on a 5 miler is a lovely one. Like you get a nice evening in Kinsale for that race, and coming into the home stretch and coming into the middle of the town, it's just wall to wall. It feels like the Tour de France with
yeah, yeah,
cycling.
yeah.
The people are so close to you because it's such a narrow street to finish on. Like I just feel like they're nearly And the same with John Tracy will be the same. As the finished part of that is a great one as well. Like, you think you're nearly there, you come around the corner, you come around another corner, and then it's just like wall to wall of people, and you decide, like, so yeah, some of the local races as well are worth doing for people, for runners and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we're blessed. Like I was speaking to Cleana, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks back, and she was going, she doesn't have that many races up in Galway, but we have. There was a message just came through there on WhatsApp, and there's
Oh
like
yeah, seen that.
loads of races that we can choose from, and you could nearly do one twice a week if you wanted, really, at this stage,
Yeah, well, before I signed up with Kieran, I had done I worked it out. I done 48 races that year in 2023. 30 of them were regular races. There was a few of the won the lanes here in Carragline,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then the park ones as well. And when I joined with Kieran then in 24, and he was like, right, we're just going to cut that out now. We're just going to concentrate on a few races here. And I think I only did like maybe 25 in 2024. And I remember leading up to the Cork full marathon, or the I was leading up to, so I was leading up to the marathon in Edinburgh, and he was like, "Right, you're doing Cove, you're doing Mallow, right? We'll have to cut one of them out." So in the end, he allowed me to do Cove and Mallow. But I remember about Cove, he was like, "Right, you're going to stick with the 70-minute pacer."
yeah,
And I remember doing Cove the year before and coming over the line in 64 minutes in Cove. So I had to bite the tongue a bit to to hold back with the 70-minute pacer. But I did it. I stuck to the plan that he said to me, and I did it, and I came over the line in 69 minutes in Cove. So, but I remember the last thing people were saying to me, like, "Why do you need a coach?" And I was like, "Well, I need a coach because they give me stability and they give me structure." And that's the great thing about having a coach. Like yourself, you're with Karen as well,
yeah.
gives you a plan every single week, and then tells you exactly. And listen to this conversation there with you the other day. He said, right, if you miss a day, that's all right. You just move on to the next session. Don't go back,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to have him. So no, I'll have to tell him that I'm off now next week to to Brazil. So I don't think I'll be training in 35-degree heat over there, but
You could you could take a dive in
yeah,
the Iguazu Falls.
yeah, yeah. Go for one at Copacabana Beach.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's for the plans for 2026 for running. Probably we got John Tracy coming up. Definitely do the Carragline 5 miler, and then I'm signed up for the full marathon in Cork this year as well, and then hopefully Dublin. So that's the short term goals for the moment, anyway.
Well, they all sound great.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much for coming on. It's been a
Thanks for
real
having me.
pleasure.
It was an absolute pleasure, like talking about running and running life. So that's great.
Yeah. And have a great holiday and enjoy all the races next year. Sure, we might have you back on and talk more about dyspraxia and go a little bit deeper into that as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great to talk a bit more about that. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's episode 24 of the Middle of the Pack podcast featuring Conor Friel. And thanks to Conor for coming on and being such a great guest. Anytime I meet him at races, anytime I see him at running weekends, he is such a nice guy, very supportive of the podcast, and I was delighted to have him on as a guest, discussing all things running and also discussing dyspraxia and how he copes with that. Next week we have Anne O'Neill. You'll know her from being a TikTok sensation, over 750,000 likes for being a woman who didn't run her first marathon but ran her 79th marathon. I'm sure you know the story. And if you don't, tune in next week where we have Anne O'Neill. But for this week, thanks for listening and keep on running.